Coach Chiswick.
All right, another exciting National Signing Day here at Carolina comes to an end, and it marks the end of the 2015 class, puts us about a quarter way through the 16 class and the beginning of the 17 class, actually. So it's a never-ending cycle, but an exciting day for our staff, for the players that signed today, their families, for our fans, and it was a lot of fun. Actually, it was a day that we kind of knew what was going to happen going into it, so not a lot of surprises for us, and kind of ended the way we thought it was going to end. So it was a great day. We've got a little bit different this year, where we had 9 guys already enrolled at mid-semester, so it made it a little unique for us. Those 9 guys are already obviously in classes. They're working out with the team. They're ingrained in the Tar Heel way of life. They now have learned what it means to be a student athlete here at the University of North Carolina. So that is very unique for us. We've never had that many guys here at one time, so it's been a lot of fun. And so we brought in 9 guys today in this class. I think the overall class, when you look at it, a very balanced class. We had at least 1 player from every position, which again, we're trying to build depth across the board and bring in guys that can help us immediately, and that's what we feel like we've done with this class. So we'll open it up.
Some might have been surprised that you didn't use your full allotment. You had a full allotment of scholarships for the first time. What was kind of...
Yeah, well, we would, our intention was to do that until we made a change with the defense and a new philosophy defensively. So we got kind of a late run on some of those kids that we made a run at towards the end, and didn't go the way we wanted it to go. So we decided instead of going for quantity, we thought we'd better go for the quality and save those scholarships for next year's class.
Are you open to adding anybody else to this class, either?
That could happen. That could happen anytime, yeah.
Are you pleased, given the circumstances, the cloud, the chatter we even saw today down the road in Winston-Salem, the things that are being said about the program? Are you pleased with what you were able to get today?
I think our staff did an exceptional job. I mean, it's the negative recruiting this year was at an all-time high, in my opinion. So I think our staff did a tremendous job. We spend a lot of our time, unfortunately, not selling what the university has to offer and defending against the accusations and the stories that are made up a lot of times in the home. So we end up spending a lot of time spinning our wheels.
Just how big of an obstacle is that, Coach?
How big is an obstacle? How big is it? Well, I mean, it's something that you have to address on a daily matter. I mean, when you feel like you've got things calmed down and somebody else makes up something else and tells a kid, his family, and so then you obviously have to address it and put that fire out so they know the truth. And it's something that is going to continue to happen until we get it all straightened out.
The stuff that is being made up, I mean, the Weinstein report, for instance, is out, so if anybody can look that up. Is it more about looking forward, like, oh, they're going to be on sanctions or whatever? Is it more of that?
Well, I'm not in the homes. I can't tell you exactly what's being told, other than I was told today by one of the high school coaches that it was just it was very unique, that when they came in, they didn't say anything about their school. It was just nothing but smearing the University of North Carolina the whole time they were in there. So, I mean, I guess sometimes when you don't have a whole lot to sell, you go the other way and you try to run the other program down.
In general, though, how many questions, I guess, do you get from kids that maybe aren't about accusations, but like about things that have been documented, just saying, hey, this is what's going on with the
NCAA? We addressed everything from the beginning with every kid that we dealt with. I mean, there was never a situation where we were trying to hide what was going on. I mean, we were very forthright and usually on the front end, if we could. We wanted to be able to let them know what was going on beforehand. And then, but in each of those cases, it was continually brought up to them, so we had to always go back and readdress it.
In that case,
You can go back there, John.
Any idea, Coach, if Bryce Love's decision was impacted by this at all?
I have no idea. I didn't have the opportunity to talk to Bryce once he made a decision.
because of what you had to sell the kids on, is it safe to say that maybe your relationship with this group is tighter than maybe some other groups already because there's a different level of trust that's involved?
I think in every year, that's the only way you're going to get a kid is for him to believe in you and believe in your vision and also trust you. So that doesn't change. I think that there were just different things that had to be addressed this year.
You mentioned the 9 early enrollees. What do you think the difference was in so many more coming early this year compared to previous
Yeah, I
years?
just think it's a trend. I think it's a trend that's happening across the country. I think more kids are seeing it, and they're setting, they're putting themselves in a position where they can graduate from high school earlier. Now the thing is that you don't always have 9 or 10 spots that you can take at mid-semester, and so that's going to be probably a factor for kids in the future as far as how many spots you actually have at mid-semester, as far as where they'll choose. It may not be just necessarily the school they want to go to, but it's going to be the school where they can get in at midterm. Because not everybody has 10 spots or 9 spots at midterm.
Are you
It's
seeing
all based on your numbers.
Are you seeing a noticeable difference in the guys that do enroll early versus the guys that are coming later in the fall, just in performance? Or
Well, I think what you see is they're more comfortable. They've been to class, they've taken classes, they've been, been involved in the off-season program, they've gone through spring ball. They're one of us. They're here. And so the guys that come in June for the second semester of summer school, it's their first time on campus. Everything's brand new for them, so they're learning it for the first time, and they haven't been working out with our strength and conditioning coaches. And no matter how hard they're going to work, it's still not going to match the intensity level that they're going to meet downstairs.
Jalen Dalton was a guy that was a high priority. Obviously, we all taking through his recruitment, kind of what you think was the key for him.
Yeah, Keith Gilmore was the lead recruiter on him and did a great job with him. He built a tremendous relationship with him, and Jalen was a guy that, I would say probably from the time we started recruiting him, he was probably on this campus 18 to 20 times, and so he, it was where he came over here. Sometimes he didn't even tell us he was coming. He would just show up, so he got to see everything that we work. There was no show put on for him. He was here watching us coach. He was here, talking to players, spending time with players when we weren't around. He was able to find out everything about this program, and I believe he just built up a comfort level here that he felt he could reach all his dreams and goals right here at Carolina.
Jalen's a younger guy for his class. Does that worry you at all in terms of maturity and work ethic?
No, not really. We get them, at all ages actually when they're freshmen. Some of them are, 17 when they get here. Alan Artis was 17 when he, for half the year when he was here on campus. But he did fine. I think a lot of it, not necessarily their age, but their maturity level is more important. And, Jalen's proved that he's a mature kid.
Is the strength of this class along the lines?
I would say so, because we felt like we really needed to, bring in some added depth and some more, more competition in the offensive and defensive line. And so you bring in 3 defensive linemen and 4 offensive linemen, so you could say that.
How crucial was the Jason Strobich flip here the other day to strengthen
It was important. He was a guy that we targeted early and had been recruiting for a long time. Even though he was committed, he was still open to being recruited, and so that gave us a chance, and Larry did a great job recruiting him down there, and I think bringing Gene onto the staff and what he was going to do and what we're going to do defensively just fits the kid, and so I think he felt more comfortable.
How important was bringing in Coach Chiswick and getting some credibility, especially after the way the defense performed last year?
Yeah, you bring in Gene, and Gene's pedigree speaks for itself, and all these kids know who he is. They know what he's accomplished. So you get instant credibility, with him coming on our staff. They know that he's won a couple national championships. They know he's had some top 5 defenses multiple times. He's had major award winners as far as Thorpe Award winners on his team as the defensive coordinator. So I think kids have taken notice of that.
Coach, you mentioned the defensive changes kind of affecting the number of kids that you brought in. You got to explain how that works. Was it a matter of Gene coming in and saying, okay, some of these kids we're recruiting don't really fit what I'm looking for as a DC?
That's one thing. That some of them didn't fit. The other part of it is you have some other coaches on your staff that have built relationships, and when they're not going to be here anymore, the kid moves on. And you lose those contacts. You lose everything that you were doing, that you were recruiting him for for the last year and a half, and so you weren't able to close on him in that situation.
Three
Dr.
times.
Joseph for a second. How significant was his commitment there in late October, early November? He was so high profile, it was coming at the back end of a lot of publicity on other things. That was quite a shot in the arm for you at that time, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know, and it was, and especially in this state, and it is, every time a kid commits, to me, it's a boost. I mean, every single kid, it doesn't matter when it happens, you prefer them to happen earlier because that just builds more momentum for you. But that was it was a good time when he did it, you know, and you know, I mean, we've been waiting for him to do it for a while. We kept feeling like he was going to, and he finally felt comfortable enough to do it.
And then Mike Hughes, you were literally on the plane going to Detroit when he announced.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, and that was a big get for us. I mean, Mike was a guy that we targeted. We think Mike's the best athlete in the state. I mean, and he is, you know, when I flew in and saw him play, and you look at his film, and if you guys hadn't seen it, you need to look at it because he's pretty special.
He was supposed to enroll early and didn't. Whatever it was that kind of caused the delay, is everything kind of
Yeah,
went smooth track
everything will be
now?
fine. Everything will be fine.
How do you see him both ways?
Oh yeah, we could definitely use him both ways. We're going to start him out at corner, and as he learns that and gets comfortable with that, then we can always throw him over on the other side of the ball, and he can learn some of the slot stuff. You know, he's obviously a return specialist also. He can do things in the punt return and kickoff return game.
On more general terms, in the recruiting process, how do you find the balance between defending your home state and yet going after recruits in hotbed regions?
Well, I'm not sure I understand the question, but what we do is we're going to always evaluate the kids in the state. I mean, that's number one. We're going to take care of our home, and we're going to go after who we think can help us win an ACC championship. And once we identify those kids, then we're going to recruit them. Whether somebody else is recruiting them or not, it doesn't matter to us. It's going to be based on our evaluation. And then we're going to branch out into our footprint, you know, and that's all along the Eastern Seaboard and down into Atlanta and some into Alabama. And I mean, so we reach out from there, and I mean, we go obviously anywhere in the country for a quarterback.
You got 3 tight ends. Why such an emphasis on that position in addition to the line?
Well, we lost one. I mean, we lost Jack Tabb. We really had Brandon Fritz as the only kid coming back on scholarship, and so it was a hole for us that we needed to fill. You know, Charlie Heck is a guy that's a very interesting kid because he's, you know, I remember seeing him, 3 years ago when we recruited John, you know, and he was sitting on the couch, and I mean, it was just this kid, you know, and then I didn't see him again in person until the Notre Dame game, and he was standing next to his dad after the game, and I'm walking to the press conference, and I see Andy as I'm walking by, and I kind of glance upwards. Andy's about 6'5½", and I'm like, Charlie? And he's like, yeah, coach. So, you know, he's 6'6", 6'7", 260 pounds, and I mean, I was like, wow. So then we started looking at his film, and because they're living out in Kansas City now, and got excited about it. But I don't know if Charlie will be able to stay at tight end, actually. I think that's where we're going to start him out, but I think he's going to be bigger probably than John and his dad, actually. I mean, he's going to be a big man.
Why the decision to sign 2 quarterbacks?
We both of them were dual threat guys, and we had both in camp. Obviously, Anthony, being here in state, was a huge commitment for us. And then, we had Nathan in camp also, and he did a great job in camp, threw the ball really well, does a lot of the things that we do. And so we felt like, we couldn't pass up on it. It's too important of a position.
Coach, some guys who don't get a lot of attention on a day like this are the walk-ons and preferred walk-ons you'll be bringing in for obvious reasons. But what have they meant to your program the last couple of years?
Well, I'm going to say that since the 3 seasons that we've been here, I think we have put, I think it's somewhere around 16. You can't hold me to that exact number, but I think it's 16 guys on scholarship since we've been here. And I mean, you take guys, there have been guys from Pete Mangum from early on that made major contributions in the special teams to, Schottner, who's been a starter for us at linebacker, to Dominique Green, that's been a starter for us, to Mac Hollins, who's, become a star for us. I mean, there's been so many guys that have made major contributions that have helped us through this this 3-year period of scholarship limitations. So, we hope to continue bringing in great walk-ons into this program.
Anybody else? All right, thanks, Coach Fedora.